Hello all, welcome to CS Virtual Classes. Today we are going to see one very important topic. It will be coming for short answer as well as for the scenario questions also. And that topic is voidable contracts. Okay. You know what is the meaning of voidable contract? Okay. An agreement which is enforceable by law at the option of one party but not at the option of other party is known as what? Voidable contracts. See, in short, I'll be making you to remember the contracts which has been avoidable. Okay, avoidable in the sense what? Like they can enter into contract, that is the other party to the contract, either they can enter into the contract or else they can say that no, I'm not interested, right? The contracts which are of avoidable nature, those contracts are called as what? Voidable contracts. Ma'am, is it enforceable by law? Yes, of course. The name itself is saying that what? Contract. When the contract will come? Offer plus acceptance is equals to what? Agreement. Once it is enforceable by law, then only contract is coming into picture. Of course, it is enforceable by law at the option of one party. See, one party is, for example, we have Mr. A, Mr. B. Okay. Mr. A is very much interested in selling his house property to Mr. B. Okay, whereas Mr. B is thinking, can he purchase from Mr. A or not, right? That is at the option of one party but not at the option of other party is known as what? Voidable contracts. And you can ask me, ma'am, in what are the situations the other party to the contract, that is by Mr. B, he can think that whether he can enter into contract with Mr. A or not. So, see, if we take up the contract, the acceptance to the contract, that is like the consent by both the parties should be free, in the sense what? Mr. A is having the house property, he wants to sell to Mr. B, okay, and Mr. A is saying that the cost is 10 lakh rupee. At the time when B is accepting Mr. A's offer, he should be like wholeheartedly happily willing to enter into the contract with Mr. A, right? That is, he has to say his decision to Mr. A in a willful manner, in the sense what? Happily manner, right? Whenever Mr. A is obtaining in the sense what? He is getting the acceptance of Mr. B by coercion, undue influence, misrepresentation and fraud. These are called as what? Voidable contracts, right? It continues to be valid and enforceable till it is avoided by the party entitled to do so. I hope so. You did not understand anything about this, especially this coercion, undue influence, misrepresentation and fraud. Of course, we'll learn one by one in the next slide. Okay, first one. What is called as coercion? It is a threat or force. Threat means what? It can be physical threat, that is what? Beating. And mental threat means what? Mental threat or mental force means what? Like verbally abusing. Don't you have any brain? You are an idiot. You are like this. Like you are such an inferior person. You are using abusing the other person with the body language or through orally. This is called as what? Like physical threat or mental threat used by one party against the other for making him to enter into the contract, for making him in the sense what? To get the acceptance of the other party, that is the offerer will be employing this technique. This is called as what? Coercion. Okay, let us understand coercion by taking a simple real life example. See, we have two parties here. We have, of course, Mr. X, okay, and we have other party, Mr. Y, okay. Mr. X is threatening to Mr. Y. See, Mr. X is taking his gun, okay, and he's been keeping like this, okay, to Mr. Y. Hey, you have your bike, right? Sell me for 10,000 rupees. Whereas Mr. Y, so very pathetic, he's having a bike worth of 1 lakh rupee. And at the gunpoint, okay, at the gunpoint, Mr. X is asking to Mr. Y, okay, if you're not selling your 1 lakh bike for 10,000 rupees to me, I'll shoot you. Okay, you'll be shot dead immediately. This is called as what? Coercion. Now, if you take up here, Mr. X is employing what? The physical force as well as the mental force. Physical force in the sense what? If you're not accepting to sell your bike for 10,000 rupees, what happens here? I will shoot you. Of course, physically, he's trying to, beat him or keeping the gun like this. And mental force means what? It's because of the pressure which Mr. X is employing on Mr. Y. Mr. Y is getting some psychological what? Threatening. In the sense what? He is getting scared from Mr. X. This is exactly called as what? Coercion, right? And to the contrary, for example, Mr. X is beating Mr. Y also. It can be physical threat or it can be mental threat, right? All these things will be coming under what? Coercion. So what is the solution for this? It is left to Mr. Y. It is left to Mr. Y. Either he can what? Enter into contract with Mr. X. Okay, he is getting scared now, so I'm ready to sell my bike for 10,000 rupees to you. Otherwise, he can say that, hey, come on, leave me, I'll be filing a complaint against you in the police station. Okay, like that, he will be able to avoid it. Fine, the contract is said to be avoidable adoption of Mr. Y. Because if we take up here, Mr. X is the offerer and Mr. Y is the acceptor. Are you getting this example? Coercion. Next, we are going for undue influence. See, a contract is said to be induced by undue influence where one of the parties is in a position to dominate the will of the other. See, for example, if we take up in real life examples also, that is like you will be trusting on someone and you will be having the confidence on them, whereas you will be making them or you will be involving them as a part of the decision making process. See, for example, in what are the scenarios you will be having a trust and confidence in one person? For example, if you take a doctor and a patient, of course the patient must be having the trust and confidence on the doctor. Next, your lawyer and a client, you take up teacher and a student, and you take up a guardian and a ward. For example, for a minor child, one of his relative has been appointed as a guardian because he does not have his parents. In all the situation, if we take up here, the party, right, whomsoever having the trust and confidence, in the sense what? He is having a position to dominate the will of the other, in the sense what? To dominate the decision of other. He uses the position to obtain an unfair advantage. Unfair in the sense what? Which is not being ethical. Okay, for example, you take up your doctor, he is a leading doctor, okay, he's from London. In order to carry out the surgery for a patient, he is saying that you have to transfer your 100 crores house property to me. Okay, it is left to the patient. Of course, if he is accepting with this, fine. And let me assume that he is only one doctor who has been available across group. So it's up to the patient. He can accept it or he can look out for other doctors in other places also. And the same scenario applies with the lawyer and the client. See, for example, if you want me to win this case, okay, you have to pay me some additional money. Next, your teacher and a student. This is most common example. If I want to give you 20 out of 20 in your internals, come on, you have to join tuition under me. Okay, that one. And next one, guardian and ward. So in all of the situations, what happens here? Undue influence is employed. Are you getting me? In all of the situation, one of the party, that is like the person who is getting the acceptance of the other person, he is in a position to dominate the will, in the sense what? Decision of the others, because the acceptor is having the trust and confidence on the whom? Offerer. Are you getting me? Yes. Next example. So, if you take up your misrepresentation. Okay, what is called as misrepresentation? It is an innocent wrong. Okay, the person making the false statement believe it's to be true, and it is not an act which is punishable by Indian Penal Code, and hence it is not an offense. Ma'am, we are unable to get anything. Very good, fine, not a problem. Let us understand better with this by taking a simple example. See, I am a dog seller. Okay, I have many customers. I deal with Pomeranian dogs, especially white Pomeranian dogs, right? Whenever I'm selling a dog to my customers, before that I used to take the certificate from my veterinary doctor. That is, the dog is in a healthy condition, right? Let me assume that I have Mr. Suresh. He is one of my customer. He's coming and asking me, ma'am, I want to purchase a white Pomeranian dog and what is the cost of it? I'm saying that 50,000 is the cost of the dog, and he selected the dog and he kept it also. And before that, what happens here? Suresh is asking me, ma'am, can you please certify by a veterinary doctor so that I'll be in a very good thing that once I brought the dog to my home, nothing should happen to it. In the sense, what my mind will be free from all the worries and other escalations, right? And let me assume that I'm getting a certificate from my veterinary doctor, right? And he has given me the certificate that the dog is in a very, very good health condition, ma'am. You can sell your dog to your customer. So I'm calling Mr. Suresh. Okay, I'm receiving 50,000 from him and I'm selling my dog to Suresh. By the time the dog reaches Suresh home, it died. So Suresh is like, catching me. You, madam, what is this, madam? Based on your words only, like I sold the, sorry, like I got the dog from you, I purchased the dog from you. Whereas you have given me the veterinary doctor certificate that also the dog is in sound health condition. So if you take up here, is there any mistake from my part? Or did I have any of the intention to cheat my customer, Mr. Suresh? No, I don't have any intention. So this is called as what exactly? Misrepresentation. It is an innocent wrong. See, I made to believe that the dog is in very, very good health condition by my veterinary doctor, whereas I don't have any intention to cheat my customer. The person who is making the false statement. False statement means what? It's me, okay? Believes that to be true. Yes, no, I believed on my veterinary doctor and he told me that the dog is in the sound health condition. That's what I sold to my customer. And is it punishable by IPC, Indian Penal Code? No, because as I did not have any of the intention to cheat my customer Suresh, it is not punishable. Okay, hence it is not offense also. Right? Next one. So now let's see. What is fraud? There is an intention to deceive the other party. It can become a criminal act punishable under IPC. It is an intentional or willful wrong. Let us take the previous example of Mr. Suresh. Of course, I am a dog seller. Whenever I am selling the dog, I will be getting the certification from my veterinary doctor that the dog is in sound health condition. Right? And Mr. Suresh is coming and asking me, ma'am, I want to purchase a Pomerian dog. So I'm saying the cost of the dog is for 50,000 rupees. So what happens here? I have to get the certification from my veterinary doctor. I'm taking the dog to a veterinary doctor, right? And after examining, the doctor is saying that, Devika, the dog is in an infected condition. Please don't sell it to your customer. If you're selling, by the end of the day only the dog will be dying. I know the fact that the dog is in infected condition and it will be dying by the end of the day. But what happens here? Wantedly, I am selling that infected dog to Mr. Suresh, one of my customer. Okay. So if you take up here, I have an intention to deceive means what? To cheat Mr. Suresh. Yes or no? So whenever I have an attitude to harm others, this will be coming under what? Criminal Act. And this will be punishable under what? IPC, Indian Penal Code, because it is intentional or willful wrong. Wantedly, I want to cheat one of my customer, Mr. Suresh. Right? So at the time of like accepting, in the sense what? Like I'm offering my Pomerian dog to Mr. Suresh and he's paying me 50,000 rupees. At the time when I'm taking his acceptance, what I'm doing? I'm hiding my original face. In the sense what? I am making what? A false statement, right? Because I have an intention to cheat him, right? Did you understand the fraud properly? Next, we are going for the most expected questions. So to sum up, what are called as voidable contracts? The contracts which are avoidable by the option of other party, it's called as what? Voidable contracts. It's the option of the other party, either he can enter into contract or he can what? Avoid it. So from this, direct theory question will come. What is called as voidable contract? You're going to give the explanation whichever we discussed in the first slide. And if you're writing coercion, then misrepresentation, undue influence and fraud, that will be more than enough. Because mistakes, please don't write it. Mistake is always what? I can see many of the students get confused with mistake also. They'll be including that mistake point also in this voidable contract, because mistake is always void. Voidable contracts means what? It is in the nature of what? Whenever the consent of the other party is obtained through coercion, undue influence, fraud and misrepresentation, then only it is called as what? Voidable contracts. Mistake is always void. Ma'am, coming to the scenario questions, what are scenarios we can expect? Of course, whatever we discussed in coercion, Mr. X is threatening to Mr. Y at the gunpoint, or beating, assaulting, physical abuse, mental abuse, or oral abuse, like any other kind of abuse, right? Those questions will be coming in scenarios. I hope so. You understood this voidable contracts very well. Let us catch all of you in the next session soon. Thank you so much for watching.